Right.
Well,
First day of combat, tell us.
the night before, we stayed in the house down in the valley, and it's about 50 feet above sea level. Belvedere was a 10,500, and timberline on the Apennines is 10,000 feet. And up to there is all pine trees from the south. And that morning, they woke us before daylight. We stayed in one of them Italians' house. And all of us slept on the floor. And they woke us up and gave us our rations. And we had to build that. It was, see, all them people had to heat their houses and cook with wood. And in the summertime, they would, they had what they call a one-horse ox cart, about 4.5 feet wide, and they'd go up every morning down in the village where the farmers and all them business was. They would send all the milk cows with one herder, and they'd go up them little trails up to the good grass up on top of Belvedere, you know, and then one bunch would take the goats and one bunch would take the sheep. That was it when there wasn't any snow on the ground. But anyway, they said make that 12 feet wide, that road up Belvedere. And man, we stacked our rifle, took our coats off, and we took 2-man crosscut saws and crowbars and picks and shovels, and by God, we got up there around 1 o'clock to the top, to where it was flat, where there wasn't no trees, and here they brought up 6x6 trucks in low range and first gear, and they go about as fast as you could walk. It must have been a 30% grade or so. They went up there, and then they said, well, take 4 tanks came next. And the ground was frozen where the trees were, and then if there wasn't there was an open spot, it would thaw. It's just like a west cliff. At night it'd get about 0, and then the daytime it'd get 35 or 40 degrees, and the snow would settle and everything. That was in 18th day of February. And we started up with 4 tanks, and the first tank made it real good because the ground was froze. Second one, it was making tracks about that deep. Third one, it was about this deep, and we had to pick up rocks and throw in the low spots where they sunk the deepest, so the fourth one wouldn't bog down. We got the tanks up to the top because the Germans was going to pull a big counterattack, which they did that next day to try to take Belvedere back. And they said, well, the tank commander said, we don't need you engineers anymore. We'll go locate where the infantry wanted us for direct fire on the counterattack, because if they shoot artillery, if they were coming up this side of the hill, and you try to shoot over that hill, you'd either hit your guys or it'd go way down the valley. So they started out with them tanks, and by God, they were all 4 started up to the highest part on Belvedere, right in a row, and that last one broke through the frost, and it looked like it jumped up in the air about 2 feet and came down, and all that gas was on fire. And the tank commander, there was some infantry guys there, and they grabbed him. They knocked him out, and he was up on the turret on top and pulled him into safety, and the rest of them all got cremated. And when we was in Belvedere on this last trip, they had that tank down in Lozano in a museum. But then about 3 o'clock, here come 3 of them GI trucks with their sideboards up, and they were all loaded with bloody mattress covers. See, they had a forward emergency hospital, you know, the wounded, and that's how many guys had died. I might there was 100 on each one of them trucks stacked up, and they went down. So they sent us. They said, well, you guys go on down. If you can drain any of them puddles, you know, go ahead and just go back where you was last night. And the infantry, well, the Germans sent all the reserves and tried to take Belvedere that night. Ah, well. And the next morning, they sent us up to carry the damn wounded infantry guys. You know, they were spread out all over there, and hell, you couldn't, jeeps and nothing could go, you know, it was too much snow up on top and everything. And we carried them guys that was shot in the leg and that, and down to where we could get them on one of the snowmobiles. They had some of them up there, and jeeps or the ambulances. And one of them poor guys had to go down that road and bouncing, but that was the second day of combat. We worked all day, but that's the hardest work you ever saw. Carrying 4 guys on a stretcher. You had to tie the guy on because you might slip and dump him and everything. And one guy, when he was down the bottom, he said, "That's the worst ride I'll ever take. It was worse than getting shot." Yeah. And we really worked, boy.